Very what do you say, very complicated topic, but the kind of questions that they are asking are somewhat simpler. All you need to have is some understanding of these numbers, how the nature of numbers basically. So when we have done that, give a 2-digit number, then interchange it, we have found the difference. So such kind of, so xy means it is 10 into x plus y, or zxy means 100 into z plus 10 into x plus y. So such kind of understanding you should have of numbers, basic understanding of numbers you should have. You should have command over the divisibility rules also. That is, let's say a number is divisible by 3, then the sum of the digits will be divisible by 3. If it is 5, then a number ends with 5 or 0, then that number will be divisible by 5. If it is 9, then the number of the sum of the numbers digits should be divisible by 9. So such divisibility rules are there that you should have an understanding, and some knack of guessing the numbers also. Like when they give such questions, you should understand, okay, what is he asking and why is he asking. We'll see some examples in CSAT 2020. You will be more clear. So so this is one of the most important topics. So try to solve many questions from this topic. Then you have also seen sequences and patterns. That is, they give you let's say 5-6 numbers in a sequence. They'll ask you the next number, or they'll ask you a missing number in the sequence. So there also we have seen either the sequence, the digits, if it's not simply given like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, then that is simple, that is arithmetic progression. But we have seen that though the sequence itself might not be easy, the differences if you find out, we have seen 2 questions in CSAT 21, where in one question if you see the differences were in some pattern, 0, 4, 8, 6, something like that, there was some pattern. And there was another question, other sequence, where you saw the divisors were in some kind of a pattern that was in a geometric way. So always, when such questions are given, see that even if the pattern per se is not clearly visible, the next, or the division or the subtraction or the addition, that is the next level, secondary level, you will find some kind of a pattern. That is one other model. Third is data interpretation. So they'll give you one table, different values they'll be giving, and they'll ask you, can you find out the average of it, or can you find out the mode of it. Sometimes this is from statistics, mean, median and mode. That mode is something like, let's say, if I give you some 10 digits, out of which number is excessively represented. Like if I give you example, if I give you 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 8. So this is what I have given a sequence. Now if they ask what is the mode of this, the answer will be 4, because it is repeating 4 times. Whereas 2 is only repeating 3 times, 3 is repeating only 2 times, and 8 and 1 are individually represented, but this alone is represented 4 times. So this will be the mode, means which is increasingly represented in this particular. So this is called mode of the sequence. Median means you just add all of them and divide, like you add them, then divide by 11, because there are totally 11 numbers with us. 4, 2, 6, 11 numbers. So you add all of them and divide by 11, you will get the mean. Median will be, if you arrange them in increasing order, whatever will be the middle number. So here there are 11 terms. So whatever will be the 6th term, like 4, 5, 6. So 3 will be the median here, because you have arranged them in an increasing order. The middlemost number will be the median. So mean, median, mode they'll ask. So, and also based on the given table, can you find some patterns, and can you give any interpretation is also. So for example, we have seen that cricket averages, strike rate, who scores the fastest. So he has given players their scores, their number of balls. So that is some kind of a data interpretation. So from that kind of table, we should be able to find out what is the strike rate of it. So that also comes under data interpretation. Next is this blood relations and family. So in 2021, we haven't seen any such question, but there's one question in CSAT 2020. So this also is like, they'll say X is father of Y, then Y is son of someone else, then the son of Z, then Z is son-in-law of some. So they'll ask you what is the relation between X and W, somewhat that kind of a thing. So this most of the people are aware, because we are aware of our blood relations, how it works generation wise. That understanding if you have, then you can easily solve them. Only thing is sometimes the questions are framed a little difficult. You will be also confused, like, and also you will find that enough information is not given. There is insufficient information. But if you carefully read it once or twice, you will understand that you will be able to solve them comfortably. Only thing you should understand, like, let's say if X is son-in-law of Y, and or if the other way around, like Y is mother-in-law of X. So from here itself, you should understand the gender of Y. Since it's saying mother-in-law, Y should be a female. So sometimes X is a male or Y is a male, female, they'll not tell you. But just from that one statement, you can interpret the gender also. So like that, you should be able to identify all possible information from given data. So another question is, so all these we will be seeing in CSAT 2020 again. Quickly we'll go through them also. Calendar problem, we have seen one in CSAT 21 also. They'll give you one date. From one date, they'll ask you what is the day of other date, something like that. So calendar, you should have that idea of how a calendar looks like, and based on one information, you can find out all other, like Sunday, if this day is Sunday. We have seen an October 10, 2021 problem also. October 10, 2020 Sunday, then after 7-6 years, what will be that day? If they meet on Sunday, then after 360 days, when will they meet? So that was a calendar problem as well. So you should know Sunday week has 7 days. So if I'm telling 10th day from now, then it must be, so if today is Sunday, what will be the 10th day from now? So 7th day will again be a Sunday, or the 8th day, 7th day will again be a Sunday. So then it will be Wednesday, some kind of that. So 10th day will be Wednesday. That's all. You should have an understanding of the calendar also. Next is ratios and averages. This also we have seen, like P is to Q is to R, he has asked, and he told if P is greater than Q plus R, then P has the maximum share somewhat. So whenever there are ratios, let's say if they give you 1 is to 2 is to 3, while solving, it's, remember always it is better to solve as x, 2x, 3x if you don't know anything. And once you get to this form, then you can easily solve whatever he's telling. Let's say now he says, example I'm telling, the salaries of 3 persons are in the ratio 1 is to 2 is to 3. The total amount of salary that they are getting is, let's say 12,000, okay, and find out each member's salary. So here 1 is to 2 is to 3. So assume their salaries are this. So total salary would be x plus 2x plus 3x, which is 6x, and he's telling the total is 12,000. So x will be 2,000. So if you see the individual salaries, it will be 2,000, 4K and 6K. So this will be the options also. So always assume this, and then you can solve the question. So next is next found is this directions. We have seen, no, there are 2-3 questions where say they'll start from here, go northwards, go eastward this much distance, then go southwards. How much is the distance from the initial point to the final point, or in which direction he is pointing. So there, as I said in the question also, whenever they say north, south, east, west, it's the standard directions. It doesn't change with the person's movement. This is the standard. But when they say it, then he moves rightwards. Let's say a person is starting from here, he goes straight, then moves rightwards, then moves rightwards, then moves rightwards. So basically, it's based to his own position. It's not with respect to this. So that is very local. That is very local to the person. This is a global direction. So whenever he says northwest, go for this. He says right, left, go for person's directions. Seating arrangement. So these are also another type of questions where they say people are sitting in a particular, let's say they are sitting in a row. They'll tell from this first position, person is sitting in 17th place. From last position, he's sitting in 13th place. So can you tell how many students are there in the entire row? Something of that sort. We have also seen, Seema, Priya, they gave ranks, they asked relative positions, and we have calculated from the bottom, from the top, and we have we can see that what is their position, what is their rank. So that is example of seating arrangement. So again, when I say seating arrangement, they may not ask exactly seating arrangement. That rank question also is a seating arrangement question. So you need to understand the model. If not exact terminology, you should understand the model. Then age calculation, we have just seen X and Y, present age, previous age, future age. They'll give you conditions. Assume them as X and Y. Then based on the given relation, find out what will be in future, what will be in past. He must have given some other condition. Using that, you will be able to find out whatever the options he is asking. So age calculation, be a little careful in the framing, in the question statements. Sometimes they are very tricky. Like they'll say X years ago, so you should be understanding that it's in the past and you should subtract 8 instead of adding 8. Some kind of those things you have to remember. Another model is profit and loss. We have seen one model in the previous paper. We'll see some more in the coming paper. So profit and loss can also be like discount, tax. Okay, all are related problems only. Only thing is you will have some X initially. It will be increased by 20%, 30%. So that will be X plus, let's say 0.3X. If it is decreased, it will be, let's say Y. Decrease means Y minus 0.2X, 0.2Y. This you should remember. And and cost price, selling price, you know, basically cost price plus profit is selling price. That means if it costs me 10 rupees to produce a pen, I'll add 1 rupee of my profit, the selling price would be 11. So this is again a basic formula in profit and loss. So this means your selling price minus your cost price is profit. But let's say if my selling price is less than cost price, if I'm selling the pen at 9 rupees, but my cost is 10 rupees, so I'll be incurring a loss. So this will also be loss. So if it is positive, it will be profit. If it is loss, it will be negative. So this, if you understand, you can solve all kinds of profit and loss questions. Next, Venn diagrams. We have seen Venn diagram questions also, and this is also one of the important models. So something of this kind. So there will be always something intersection here. Two entities will be given X and Y. Universal, there will be some other condition. We have seen that basketball problem. Sports, like some like basketball, some like cricket. How many like both? How many don't like any of the sports? So this is a representative of that problem. And also we have seen when they say some radios are mobiles, some mobiles are computers. Again, we have drawn some similar Venn diagrams. Basically, Venn diagrams are then when you have two entities and they say there is some kind of commonality between those two terms, then you can go for Venn diagrams. Cubes. So cubes also we haven't seen any question. So generally what they ask in cubes is, so this is the cube that they have given. Now generally they say I'll cut it into two halves. Like I'll cut it like this, and I'll cut it like this, and I'll cut it like this. So every side I'm basically cutting. So then he'll ask how many new cubes are formed. In this case, if you see, this is one cube, then this is one adjacent to it there is one cube, here there is one cube, this is one cube. So in the top you will have 4 cubes, in the bottom you will have 4 cubes. So total you will have 8 cubes. So you should have an understanding of a cube, how a cube looks, and if I cut it in half, how the symmetry works out. So symmetry kind of problems they'll ask. Now here it is only one cut, but if I say I put 2 cuts like this, 2 cuts like this and 2 cuts like this, how many squares I'll get? That is another question. And some other questions will be, he says now a given cube is painted. Let's say this is painted as yellow, blue, green, and the opposite sides also are painted like that, green, blue. So now he says I'll cut it like this. Then the resulting, there will be some smaller cubes. Here he will say how many smaller cubes have been painted on all 3 phases, how many have been painted on 2 phases. So if for example, let's say I have a cube which is painted, let's say all are painted with same color, let's say all are painted white, but the interior is black. Now he says I cut it into two parts, like this, and like this. So when you cut it, it becomes still smaller cubes. Now if he says how many cubes will have 3-sided painted, so you can see only the cornermost of the cube will have 3 sides, because it will have upper face, top face, and the adjacent face. So all those will be colored. So all the edge cubes, all the corner cubes, how many will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the one behind. So total 8 cubes will be having 3-sided paint. 2-sided paint again will be the ones which are here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, similarly 5, 6, 7, 8, but you will have again here. So 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 cubes you will have. So basically this is a Rubik's cube. If you have an understanding of a Rubik's cube also, you will understand that if you calculate, you know that top face will have 4, the bottom face will have 4, and the middle face will have 4. So 4 plus 4 plus 4, 12. And the rest are all single painted. There will be one cube which is not painted at all, which will be the centermost cube. Because it is inside, it will not have paint on any side. So that will be the one which is not at all painted. So this is about cubes. Next we have logical conclusion. So logical conclusion is, we have seen some 4-5 questions here. They'll give some statements. Based on those statements, they'll ask conclusions. Can you make them? So there also we have discussed that if they give any very certain and very conclusive statement, be a little apprehensive of them. Don't make them correct immediately. Just see if you can give some counter example to that statement. When they say all almirahs are, based on the given information, if they say all almirahs are, all radios are mobiles, within the given information, just see if there is any one counter example which you can give. When one of you asked the questions, we could see that we can draw 2 extreme examples in that Venn diagram also, where there is no commonality and when there is almost everything is common. So using these 2 examples, you can find out whether is there any counter example for the given statement. If it is there, then that statement is wrong. But generally, if they ask some mobiles are computers, then there is a greater probability that that statement is correct. In all likelihood, it will be correct. So in that cases, you should see are there any negative examples. If there are not also, generally you can tick them as correct. I'm saying generally, it changes with question, but this is how you can solve. And finally, there are some miscellaneous problems which you can't categorize here. There are some velocity problems and there are some other problems which you can't categorize. But see, all these categorizations are also, these are not rigid categorizations. Everything is again logic only. Like profit and loss is a logic, like you know what is profit, you know what is loss, so you can calculate. This is basic mathematics. Age calculation also is basic addition, subtraction only. Seating arrangement is also basic pattern identification. So all these are having some kind of logical approaches only. Only thing is we have categorized based on some conditions. And miscellaneous also, there will be different types, but you can again solve them with basic logic and basic mathematics. Okay. So, and some of the tricks, see again, this I wrote as tricks, but they are not tricks as such, but just might be useful for you in the exam to maybe eliminate options or something. So, say one is intuition. I have told you in CSAT 21 also when I was solving the paper that some questions, if you understand the intuition also, you will get around them. Like let's say in the numbers also, if it is let's say somewhat 220 by 4. Okay, now you know that 200 is in the range of 50 times of 4. So the answer will be somewhere near 4. Okay, that much if you, somewhere in the range of 5, because 4 50s are is 220. So if you understand, if they ask 220 by 4, if you can know that, okay, the range might be near 50s because we know 4 into 50 is 200, that is intuition. Means you will know the range. If you remember in that cricket problem, when they were asking strike rates, there were some very, odd numbers, like they say 25 runs in 99 balls. So there, if you want to find the strike rate, instead of doing 25 by 99, we assumed, okay, 99 is almost near 100, so 25 by 100 will be almost 2.25. So that kind of an intuition, that kind of a, you should know the range. Then so you can get closer to the answer in the options. This again, I told in the previous slide. Now observe the options. They'll give you extreme statements. This is so like all almirahs are mobiles, or all radios are mobiles, or they'll say no radio is a mobile and every radio is a mobile. So when they come all, like all, every, none. So all these are extreme statements. Be a little careful. I mean, this applies for your GS1 also, your prelims paper also. But GS2 also, whenever, I mean, why in GS2 it becomes important is, such statements are easy to negate. Even if you give one counter example also, all these statements you can negate. So that is why in the options, if you find such statements, first go to these statements, try to negate them, then you can easily eliminate them. and you can you can select the remaining statements. Okay, and if at all they give some kind of a intermediary statement like some, maybe, can be, then those statements you can't be certain about them. You should see whether in general such statements are true. Like when they say some mobiles are radios, you see whether is it happening anywhere in the extreme examples, one extreme and second extreme, in between, is it possible to make this statement true? Is there any one case also where some mobiles are radios? If that is true, then the statement will be true. So, so that way you can approach these extreme statements. Next is frequency. So this also we have seen, like in the options, let's say again I don't know, but I'm telling, like let's say X, Y, Z, W, X, A, B, W, then you have Y, A, C, W, then you have X, A, L, N. Okay, so let's say if some this is option A, option B, option C, and option D. Okay, now I don't know the answer, but I only know the options. So what will you do in such cases? Let's say there's some question and this is the answers they have given, but I don't know anything about the question. Just by seeing options can I answer? So in this case, if you see, in the first place X is getting repeated in 3 places. So all likelihood X will be, these will be the correct answers because some repetition is there. So let's eliminate this. Next, if you see in W, the last position, 1, 2, 3, and you know that, okay, maybe the final place should, so I'll write X should be the first place, and maybe the final place should be W. Okay, if you see the second position, it says A, and Y. So maybe my position would be A, because it is in the second position, A is repeating thrice. First position, A is repeating X is repeating thrice. Here W is repeating thrice. Okay, so now if I have, I don't know what this is because I can see Z, W, C, L, there is no pattern here. But if you carefully see, this particular pattern can only be found in the second statement, because this is X, Y, Z, W, this is X, A, L, M. So what I'm trying to say is, maybe this might be my answer. This might be my answer because all there is a lot of frequency of X's, A's, and W's. So even if the fourth, this particular place, even if it is not repeating also, just by other 3 places you can answer that, okay, B will be the option. But this is only for your supporting this thing. You can't conclude based on this. While solving, and if you find there is no time in the paper and you find that, okay, maybe we'll just try it out, you can try this method. Because why they give you like this is, if you should understand from examiner's perspective, why he gives is, let's say you do all calculations and you get the answer as XABW. Now when you try to answer this, you find that options are very close. Oh, there is XABW here, there is XYZW here, there is XALM here. So you will get confused. So in order to confuse you, he gives you close options, very near options. So what we should do, take the advantage of the situation and see whatever is repeating closely, means that will be the answer. Next is, same model basically means whatever we have done, let's say in CSAT 21, some models will get replicated in 22. So it's always good to be thorough with your past year papers. Some 5 papers, at least 5 past CSAT papers if you solve, you will be comfortable with all the models and you will be easily replicating that model in the 2022 the coming paper also. You will see some questions. When we see CSAT 2020, you will see some questions directly from 2020 to 2021. The model is repeated. So be thorough with all the models here of previous 5-year question papers, then you'll be comfortable in 2022 also. Now other is substitution of or in the options. So we have seen that 1, 1, 1, 1 problem, where what is the shortest number if multiplied by 7, there will be all ones in the unit. So in that case, instead of going from top to bottom, go from bottom to top. See the options and then go. If you can directly take the options and solve, you will find it much more easier. And also we have seen that P like 3P plus 4P plus PP plus PP is equal to RQ2. So in such problems also, instead of going theoretically, you can just put P equal to 1, P equal to 2, P equal to 3 and find out the answer. That is a simpler way. So always look at the options. Always, my suggestion would be, once you see the option, you will have an understanding of the answer, because see, your answer lies in those 4 places only. Ultimately, whatever you do, in those 4 places only, you will find the answer. So my suggestion is, always look at those options first. After reading the question, slowly you will start finding out the answer. Like the answer will be slowly starting appearing to you in those 4 places. If you go from top to bottom, bottom to top, somewhere you will reach the answer faster. So sometimes you can directly substitute the options in the questions. Sometimes they'll say, okay, this is the question, which of the following options is correct? So substitute that value in the options also, you will get the answer. Again, you will see in the CSAT 20 how it works. Unit digit, I told you, number system, anything comes, always go with unit digit first. We have seen in the 3P problem, we have seen in the division problem, where they have given PQ into 3 is equal to RQQ. There also we have seen its unit digit. P problem also we have seen unit digit. In that 1111 problem also we have seen unit digit. So always in number theory, always keep in mind about this unit digit. Maybe I'll give an example again, like let's say, is equal to, let's say, okay, so they have given you something like this, RQ2 into 5P is equal to 2436. Can you tell me what is P? Yeah, so first answer, again you have to go 1, 2, 3. So 3 will be the first answer. Is there any other possible number? 8. So now you know the range of P. P can be either 3 or 8 just by looking at the units digit. So this will help you in finding out the answer. Okay. Next is Venn diagram. I have explained it already. Venn diagrams are very important because the complex statements also you can reduce down into a figure, and a lot of information can be captured in Venn diagrams. What is intersection? What is only some kind of, they'll ask, foreigners and Indians. Let's say they are foreigners and Indians, and how many speak English. So there, let's say these are only Tamil speaking people, okay, and these are only let's say Hindi speaking people. There will be some common people who knows both Hindi and Tamil. So if this is, let's say, 20, this is 30, and this is 10. Now when they ask how many speak Hindi, you should be telling it is 30, because all these people can speak Hindi. How many speak Tamil? It is 40, because 30 plus 10. But if they ask how many can speak only Hindi, it will be 20, and how many can speak only Tamil, it will be 30. And now now if they ask how many can speak Hindi and Tamil, okay, it will be 10. Another statement is how many can speak Hindi or Tamil. Then the answer will be 20 plus 10 plus 30, that is 60. Hindi or Tamil means they can belong to this group, or this middle group also. So it will be 60. Remember, here you should not have 30 plus 40. Okay. Now, I'll tell you a simple confusion what happens here. They say number of people speaking Hindi is 30. Okay. And number of people speaking Tamil is 40. Now, if they ask, tell me number of people speaking Hindi or Tamil, immediate response will be 70. Okay, this is wrong, because you should ask me a next question before answering this. How many people are speaking both languages? So if you carefully look, that option will also be there. And if let's say both options speaking are 10. So these 10 are basically included in this also and this also. So you should, there will be a double counting of 10. So only once you have to add. So you will say 30 plus 40 minus 10, because this 10 is added twice. In this also it is there, this also it is there. So now also you will get answer as 60. So this is a basic confusion, this you should not. And this is one final suggestion, and a simple suggestion is break the question into subparts. Like there will be some 4 or 5 statements within each question. Break them and each part you have to represent in figures or some diagrams, so that finally, like we have seen that birth and present, we have just solved a question. So each statement, okay, we have represented in matrix. Now age we know of X is 42, of Y let's assume it is, so assume also, if you don't know, assume, then that at birth X ages will become 2Y, this will become 0. So you have some understanding of the statement. So that statement you can represent in terms of figures. You can easily understand the question or whatever is asked. So that is the demand. Okay. And final tips I would say is, those who have problem with CSAT aptitude, try to solve questions on a regular basis. At least 10 questions if you solve daily also. I suggest you solve past year questions only, because that way you will know the demand of the exam, as well as you will be comfortable with the models. So daily practice is important. From now on, hardly you have 1 month for the exam. So those who have problem with CSAT, I suggest you solve daily, on a daily basis. Then read the questions carefully, because some questions are scary. By the sight of it, they might look okay. You might be averse to answer them, but reading them once, twice, thrice. My only humble request is, we have solved some 5-6 sessions with CSAT. If anything, the takeaway is, okay, you leave everything, whatever I told you, leave it. But my humble request is, read the question. Don't leave it at the sight of it. Whenever you see a question, if it's complex form, the immediate tendency would be to see it and leave it. But my request is, see it, read it, try to understand. I'm not saying understand, I'm just saying try to understand it. If you get it, okay, otherwise you leave it. But don't leave it at the sight of it. That is one request, because if you leave 10 such questions, you will see that by reading and by trying to understand, out of those 10, easily you can solve 6 questions. So you are depriving yourself of those 6 questions just because of your fear. So don't do that. Read it multiple times. Read it multiple times if required also, but don't leave it, because every question is important here. At the end of the day, if you keep leaving like that, you will realize that in the by the end of the paper, you will be leaving 10-15 questions like that. But every question is important. Every question will get you closer to the cutoff. So don't leave any question just by the side of it. And another simple suggestion would be, a lot of data analysis that these days newspapers are giving. If you see Hindu, Express, every day you will find some charts, some pie diagrams, and some kind of trend analysis. Even your economic survey or your budget, your other important reports, you will find some kind of tables, analysis, trends and all. So have a look at them, glance them once. Maybe you will slowly start developing that knack of analysis, data analysis and numbers and all. That will be helpful for you. Anyways, you will be reading it for your GS and for your mains anyways. So just whenever you go through the paper, look at these trends also. That will be helpful for you. And yeah, this is the most important suggestion I would give is, don't categorize any question into models. No, the one which we have done earlier, the topics, that is only for your understanding. But don't categorize or don't bucket the problems into a specific category and try to use formulas. If you have seen in our entire CSAT 2021, nowhere we have used any formulas. There is no chance we have used any formulas. It was only basic understanding, because that is the demand of the paper also. You are not solving JEE mains, JEE advanced or some other competitive exams. This is a basic aptitude test they are asking you. Just by looking at these statements and a little logical approach, you can be able to find the answers. If you see some other solutions, they'll give you formulas. This model, this is the formula. This model, this is the formula. The problem with such kind of an approach is, if you're not able to identify, because generally the models are not that similar also. Sometimes they'll be different. But if you can't identify that model, then you will not be able to solve it. And my approach or my intention was, while solving this, is I should not use any formula. Even a 5th grader or a 6th grader can also solve these questions only based on their basic mathematical understanding and basic logic. That is what is required also. So when I say first principles means, if I give it to some 10th class students, how will he solve without knowing any, without having any graduation background or any, +1, +2 background? How will a 10th class student approach it? He'll read the question, he's saying some arrangement, okay, he'll put on the paper. First of all, write it on the paper. You have rough column. If you see at the end of the paper, they have a rough, write it there. Illustrate the question. Basically, draw the diagrams. If I tell it to 10 standard person, what will he do? He'll he's saying, okay, 10 persons are sitting in a row. So he'll actually draw. He'll write 10 persons are sitting. Then he's saying from the left end, there are 17 people. Okay, then he'll mark from, okay, 17th person is this. Like that only you have to solve. There is no hi-fi rocket science in this. You started from first principle, started from each, representing each statement into figures, and from there only you can conclude. Later, now for the past year questions, you have solutions. So if you're solving past year questions, don't look at the solution first. Try to approach from your side without seeing the solution. You will reach a certain stage. Maybe you'll get the answer also. But just in case if you don't reach the final answer also, you will have some kind of idea of your approach. Seeing certain question, how you are approaching, your basic instinct, what is your basic instinct of solving based on that problem. Then you see the solution. Then you will realize, okay, your approach was correct, maybe you did not go forward. Or sometimes your approach will itself be wrong, you can change that approach. But always try to solve it first and then see the solution. You will be able to learn it better. Yeah, and for those with who are not comfortable with this concept that we have discussed, you can go and look at the NCERTs, basic NCERTs or your state syllabus books also, mostly 6th, 7th, 8th, where you will have all these topics mentioned. The average velocity, the profit and loss, then patterns, arithmetic progression, geometric progression. So these are some things which engineers might know because by virtue of their background, but some might have forgotten because they might gone into arts and humanities. So just to brush up the topics, you can look at 6th, 7th standard. Again, see, these are all 6th, 7th standard. So all of us might have, should have gone through this. So just brush up those topics. And one last thing about comprehension is, see, I am personally not a big fan of comprehension because I used to attempt very little questions from comprehension. Most of my questions I used to do from aptitude. Comprehension, what I felt is there is no certainty in the answer. Like options are very close, and it will be very what do you say? You can certainly say that this is correct, and you don't know what is examiner's interpretation of that statement also. But again, having said that, let's say now in CSAT 2021 there are 80 questions, out of which 53 are aptitude, and generally that is the ratio. Around 50 you will have aptitude, rest 30 you will have comprehension. In those 30 questions of comprehension also, if you read them once, you understand at least 10 you can solve them easily. So identify those 10. Read the passages. Some statements are very far apart, so you can easily eliminate them and get the answer. So out of those 30, all 30 are not uniform. There will be easy, medium, tough. Identify those easy ones, solve them first and go. So at least you will have 10 comprehension with you instead of leaving the entire comprehension part. At least 10 comprehension questions you will have. And with respect to medium and tough, I will say don't attempt them first. My approach, my personal approach would always be within those given 2 hours, almost 1.5 hours I used to solve only aptitude. All 50 questions I used to complete, because see, one comprehension question and one aptitude question, the marks are same, 2.5 marks. So why do you want to make your life harder by going for comprehension? If you're comfortable with aptitude, go with solve all the aptitude questions first. Again, in those 50 questions of aptitude also, not all are easy again. It varies to person, but I used to feel at least 40-45 I used to solve immediately in the first 1 hour 15 minutes. 40 questions I used to solve. There will be some 10 questions or 5 to 10 questions which will be tough, which I would leave them, not solve there. I'll go to comprehension, see whatever is easy in comprehension, solve them, come back, and now I am left with some, let's say 20-25 questions, out of which 5 to 10 are aptitude and other are comprehension. So it's my strategy that I'll go for aptitude, because I know that I am more comfortable with aptitude. My answers in aptitude will be more correct probably when compared to comprehension. So there I'll go for aptitude. If you're comfortable with comprehension, you can go for comprehension. So whatever you're comfortable, you go for that. In my personal case, I was comfortable with aptitude. So comprehension, in my case, I would have given it second priority and find out the easy ones. As I said, find out the easy ones. There will be definitely some 5 to 10 easy ones. Okay. And see, this is again a thing. Comprehension, when you read, even experts in English also will feel them difficult. That is what I feel. Because the options are close and the interpretations were very subjective. Sometimes you think one is correct, but other becomes correct. So in such questions, it is better to leave them. Don't, because negative is also high, no? unless you feel desperate to answer more questions, you can leave such questions. And in case of preparation, I don't know if there is any separate preparation for comprehension, but yeah, you can read the newspapers daily. Hindu and Indian Express have very good English, and very good authors also write them, writers. So daily reading newspaper, actually this reading newspaper will also help in solving your CSAT paper. Sometimes the passages come from the newspaper only, so that is another advantage. So it's better, and since if you're regular with the newspapers, you'll understand that you'll understand the context of that article or that particular passage, and you can easily answer the options. So it's always good to be regular with newspapers, both for your GS, your mains and prelims, and also because it helps you in your comprehension, and also it will help you in your essay also. Reading newspaper. So reading newspaper, I would say, should be an habit of every aspirant. Okay, so yeah, this is what I have prepared. We'll quickly go through CSAT 2020. So this is again all number theory questions are there here. You want to zoom? Okay, visible? Yeah. So how many zeros are there? Then you see here again x now. Okay, wait. XYZ is a 3-digit number where x plus y plus z is not a multiple of 3. Then which of the following is not divisible by 9? Again, you see some divisibility rules in number theory. This again you say p minus 2016 is equal. Which of the largest? This is a simple question. 5-digit prime numbers. Again, prime numbers again becomes important. Basic prime numbers, right? 2, 3, 5, which don't have any other factor except for the number and the 1 itself. 2, 3, 5, 7, then you have 11, 13, 17, like that. So what he is saying is how many 5-digit prime numbers can be obtained by using all the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 without repetition of digits. So he's saying these are the digits, and I form 5-digit numbers of it, and tell me how many prime numbers you can get. But by basic understanding, if you just, let's say there is a number called 31245, add the digits, you get the sum to be 15, which is divisible by 3. That means it is not a prime number, because prime numbers have no other divisors or factors. That means 0. So simple, answer is simple. If you know those concepts, you can easily answer them. Number theory problems. For which digit does the symbol x stand? So again, what do? Simply substitute the options. It is very easier. See, you can assume x here, solve it. It takes time. I'm not telling that is the method, but I'm just telling that will be simpler for you. Measurements. Then again you have sequence problems, as we told. Then you have, this is again a basic average thing. You have page numbers is giving some average, you can find it out. Patterns, we have seen same question. That's what, now the moment you see this question, you will remember that question what we have done in previous paper. So it's always good to have a context. What do? Simply substitute. Write this 4 times, simply substitute and see the pattern. That's it. These kind of numbers also we have seen. It's a 4-digit number. Again, you are given 2 statements. They are asking conclusions. We have solved such questions. So this is a model. There's some table. There's some numbers. They'll ask you averages. We have seen such in that cricket and balls thing. Then, yeah. So this is what I was telling. A family of 2 generations consisting of, so many members. 3 males, 3 females. 2 are married. U is P's daughter, Q is mother-in-law. So if you want, we'll solve this. Shall we, or we'll try it out? So basically saying there are 2 generations in a family. So again, we'll start it from here only. 2 generations. So first generation, then second generation. 6 members are there, okay, and 3 males and 3 females. So there is a male group and there is a female group. There are 2 married couples, means what do you say? Married couples means husband, wife, and then he's saying 2 unmarried siblings, means within those unmarried siblings, there should be one male and 1 female, because we know there are 3 males and 3 females. That's an interpretation. Based on the given information, you have to interpret that. Then he's saying U is P's daughter. So U must belong to second generation. And he's saying what? Daughter means she should be female. Then P must belong to first generation. Then he's saying Q is R's mother-in-law. So Q is a mother-in-law, means she belongs to first generation and she's a female. and R's mother-in-law, so R will belong to second generation. T is an unmarried male, so T is a male, okay, and S is a male, is saying. And now you know T should have another sibling who is a female, but we don't know who that is. But we know that P belongs to, what else is left here? Like here, you know, P, Q, R. So here what is missing? S and T is missing. Here P comma Q are missing. Okay. Sorry, P and R are missing. Okay. So now he says T must have a sibling. So T is male. There must be some female sibling of it. But you know P is a first generation person. So my hunch is R should be a female sibling. Okay. So R and T can be here also. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. R is here. R is already here. So see, this is, even I am not sure of the answer. I just seen I'm doing, but I am not sure of the answer. But this is how you make mistakes in the exam also while solving, and you get back to the solution because you can find it yourself only. Okay, so P and R are missing, but we know T has a sibling, and which must be R, and R must be a female. So you can write R here. So P will be here obviously because there are 3 males and 3 females. And now we know second generation, R is here, so T must also be here. Okay, and we also know that the couples are, he said couples are there. So there can't be a third person here. The fourth person must be here only. If the third person becomes first generation, you can't find couples because couples are of same generation, siblings are of same generation. So what is left here? S must also belong to second generation. And we know this is one married couple. Yeah. And we know T and R are siblings, so they can't be married couples. So R and must be in relationship either with U or S. And we know R is a female, it can't be with a female. So R and S are couple, T and U are chuma, like they are not, they are the unmarried. Or then U and S must be the married couple, R and T are the unmarried siblings. Okay, that makes sense. Because R and U, any one of them could have been married, but he says unmarried siblings, and we understood that R and T are unmarried. So U and S must be the married couple, and P and Q are the other married couple. These are the unmarried siblings. Then you can easily understand R is S's wife. Okay, this is the answer. Not, I'm unsure here, but I'm telling you the approach. Okay, like I may not get the correct answer, but I'm telling you the approach based on the given condition because I'm solving it quickly. But this is how you can solve in the exam also. Okay, we'll go, and this is again a calendar problem. This is again the statement problems. They have given 2 statements, 1 question, and how do you solve this? Again numbers, it's related to numbers. Again you find a prime number here, you find 2 numbers here. The product is 21, the sum is 10. What are the 2 numbers? You know, you can find out. We have solved a similar question of difference between it is given. This is the seating arrangement problem I told that you know, they are sitting. So here if you see, he is from 18th from right. G is, this is similar to the rank problem that we have done. Bottommost position they'll give you, and they'll give you that. This. Again, 3 statements. They have given some conclusion. Older, oldest, older, similar to age related. So you see, all these are fits into one of those categories of topics that we have done. Next, how many integers are there between 1 to 100, which are 4 as digit but not divisible by 4? Again, divisibility you're finding digits. So you simply write all the digits, all the numbers which are 4 in them, 2-digit numbers, and see which of them are not divisible by 4. Simple. This is a measurement thing that can also be done. Average age, again age problem. Then you have loss of 20%. So again a profit and loss type of question. Most of the models are repetitive. So that's what I was telling even in the beginning of class also, that once you are comfortable with the models, you will be comfortable with the paper also. So every topic you find there are some 2-3 questions in every paper. So if you solve topic wise 3-4 papers, or let's say 5 papers at max, you will easily solve the 2022 because it will not be anything different. 2022, how do you remove your fear is by understanding that familiarity always, non-familiarity always breeds fear. So I was giving one example now. So if see, like I'm a person, I'm new to Chennai, I don't know the routes in Chennai. If I want to go from Greenways to Alaja Road, I don't know the road. But a person who is traveling daily will do it even blindly also. He can close his eyes also and drive his vehicle because you know where to take right, where to take left, where to stop, where is the signal and all. But I as a newbie, I don't know what to do. So I'll see Google Maps, I'll stop, I'll ask someone, I'll be a little afraid whether this is the correct location or not. All those things happen. So my suggestion to remove fear is develop familiarity with the questions. Once you develop them, your fear will remove and you will be solving them like your second nature. Like how that's what I was telling also. So why I am comfortable with CSAT is because I'm familiar with such questions. In +1, +2, when I was preparing for JEE and all, I used to prepare questions which are tougher than this. So I am comfortable with this question. So if you give me 2022 paper also, I'll solve it without preparation because I was familiar. So that is nothing different because by virtue of my preparation, I was familiar. So you also try to be familiar with these questions, try to be familiar with different models, and trust me, if you can solve 5 proper CSAT papers, you will find that familiarity coming up. In 2022, you will be much more prepared and much more equipped. Okay. Again, a profit and loss. See, discounts, service tax again. Then you have some pattern. He gives DEF some code. We found out that code. He gave some chemistry, mathematics, then changed the code. Similar to that. Here also. So here also, see, like I don't know the question, but I'm just telling. See, N is there. Okay, so N must be in the first place. Then there is P, O, P, P. Maybe P will be there. Then I have J, J, I, J. Maybe J will be there. So I saw that NPJM is the answer. So this also you can solve similarly pattern wise. This is a simple one, not a big deal. Again, length. This is again an LCM problem that we have seen. A table is given asking data interpretation. We know here, you know, birth rate, death rate. He's telling natural growth rate. So just subtract, you will get the natural growth. Again, a recurring decimal. So simpler one would be just divide and see faster. There's a good solution for it, but I don't think we have time for it. But you can see the solution. It's easier only, but otherwise also you can just simply solve, divide and see the options. This is an LCM problem again. See how I'm like categorizing this in LCM. This is like, so you can also be like do that. Again, this 40%, 30%, some kind of a Venn diagram, or the ones we have solved, English, foreigners, Indians, girls, boys. Similar problem. Number divided by 100. This you can do easily. A ratio problem again. This is again sum of digits. You will find somewhere it also belongs to that unit digit kind of a thing. Average weight is asking. Averages is another important topic we discussed. Then this is about this also is a repetitive pattern. They give you some money denominations and ask you different combinations of it. This is one such problem. How many different 5-letter words we have seen? Different permutation combination. Again, a ratio problem. Average score problem. Then what was the original price? There is a price hike, similar to profit and loss. A person can complete work in 8 days. We have done this. I have shown you a model. This is you can do on that basis. Average velocity. I'll just tell you one thing about average velocities is that whenever you have averages, average velocity is somewhat different. So when they give 2, 4, 6 as different speeds, if you ask me what is the average velocity, you can't write 2 plus 4 plus 6 by 3. This will be wrong. Okay, because as you will see in this case, always average velocity is total distance by total time. Okay, so in like for example, these are the time periods, let's say. Okay, 1 hour, 2 hours and 3 hours. So total time is 6 hours and my velocity has been like I'm driving a scooter, let's say, and in 1 hour for the first 1 hour I was traveling with a speed of 10 kmph in terms of, let's say, kmph. Second 1 hour I was traveling with 20 kmph and third with 30 kmph. So now if you ask me what is the average velocity, the tendency will be 10 plus 20 plus 30 by 3, but that will be wrong. First you have to find out the distance traveled. So if you see the distance traveled in the first 1 hour will be with 10 kmph, I have traveled for 1 hour. That means 10 kilometers I have traveled. Okay. second hour I have traveled 40 kilometers because 20 kmph, for that I have traveled 2 hours. So it will be 40 kilometers, it will be 90 kilometers. So total, now average velocity is always total distance by total time. Okay, this you have to be a little careful. This is related to physics and we haven't covered in our problems. So total distance now here will be 140. Total time will be 6 hours. So this will be how much? V average will be how much? 23 point something, yeah. So average velocity is 23 kmph. That you should be careful. Otherwise, you can solve the rest of them. So we have seen average velocity. Yeah, this one I would like to just go through. So it says this is a geometry problem. We haven't solved, but we'll just quickly solve it. The minimum number of points of intersection of a square and a circle is 2. So he's saying there's a square and circle. Now they are intersecting. We don't know the size of the circle, whether circle is small or circle is bigger than square. We don't know, but we'll see. He's saying the minimum number of points. So if you take this kind of a scenario where circle and this are intersecting, you find 2 points. But always try to find the extreme example. The extreme example will be this, where they are just touching. So minimum point is 1. So this will be wrong. The maximum number of points of intersection of a square and a circle is 8. So if you see this case, they are meeting 4 times. Okay. But what if the circle is bigger? So try all possible combinations. No, like this. This is one other combination. Another one would be like this. Yeah. Here you see there are 8 points of contact. This also will be like this inside. So you can find 8 possible contacts. So that means this is correct. So 2 will be correct. So something of similar. So little awareness about geometry. Squares and circles are simple, no? Like everyone knows squares and circles. Again, you have a ratio, a speed. This we know, we've seen. And next is natural numbers. Again, a number theory problem. Then numerator fractions. We've seen that. Again, digits problems. Is saying digits n is greater than this. So you can see a lot of digit related problems. So be a little comfortable with them. Then cubic, this is that volume, this is that problem that you were referring that day. 1 kg, is this 1 liter equal to 1 kg, then how much is it? So similar we have solved in 2021 also. Then one vessel weighs 40, then 1/3 is filled, again an average problem. Okay.
What you say is 1000.
No, I'm saying. Okay. No, but this is simple, no? Like one liter is 1 kg. So here also again, you also know that 1 liter is equal to 1000 cc. Yeah. So now you know the relation between grams and cc, centimeter cube. So he's asking between grams and say cubic millimeter. So convert this into millimeter. And then find out, I think, the answer should be correct, I don't know. But this is how the procedure is. You know now after 1 liter is 1000 cc and 1 liter is 1 kg. So now you know the relation between a kg and a cc. Grams and cubic centimeter. So now you know grams and cubic millimeters how to find out. Maybe some calculation mistake, but the method is this. This again is simple one, how it will go 30 centimeters, come back 15 centimeters. So every time it becomes 15 centimeters. So how much it will cover? So this is about CSAT. So as you've seen, if you can do that models, if you can do previous year question papers, you will be able to solve it better. And quickly about GS1. See GS1, these days over the past 2-3 years, the papers have been very random. The questions are very vague. There's no defined pattern, how to find out. Like maybe let's say 7-8 years back, if you had read standard books like Lakshmikant, Spectrum, you would have solved it easier, like with comfort. But these days the questions are very vague. How much ever preparation you put, at the end of the day, it matters on that day only. What you're doing on that day of exam. So my suggestion would be to, I mean, there are multiple approaches. Again, prelims is not one way. This is my way of doing prelims. Is that I used to solve more and more test series questions, because as I said, if you can solve some, let's say 50-60 questions. So in my first attempt, when I gave in 2017, immediately after graduation, I got 88 marks. My cutoff was at that time, 2017 exam was 105. So somewhere 17 marks I was left out. In 2018 when I gave, the cutoff was somewhat 98, 99, and I got some 112, 113, some 13-14 marks above cutoff, and I could clear forestry exam also that year. So the difference mainly was, okay, I took coaching A, obviously that made a difference. But secondly, I solved nearly some 60-65 questions, 60-65 test papers. So what happens with test papers is, every test paper will have 100 questions. Each of those questions is like 100 topics. So by solving some 60-65 test papers, you will be learning 60-65 100 new topics. And another suggestion is, whenever you solve a question paper, make sure you get back to the solutions, because solving is not as important as analyzing the paper, analyzing your performance. Let's say out of 100 you have attempted some 70 questions, 70 are correct, 20 are wrong, and 10 you have not attempted. So go back and see what is happening with those 30 questions. Also see what happened with those 70 questions. Sometimes it might be guess questions, you can't leave it. No, you have to go back and read the answer also. So all 100 questions you should be able to analyze, and you have to analyze in such a way that if I give the test paper in next week, today you have solved, 1 week later if I give you the test paper, you should get 200 on 200. That is the level of command you should have on that test. Then that is when you can actually say, I have done this test. So when I claim that I have done 65-70 tests, means I have done them properly and thoroughly. I have solved them, then I have gone back, analyzed them, and with a certain level of command over those topics. So what happens while solving with the 65-70 question papers is, in the final paper also, let's say a person is going with 7,000 topics command, and someone is going, maybe let's say 10-20 test paper command. The difference is, you will have certain advantage in knowledge, and though not directly, you can eliminate questions easier in the final paper. 4 options, because of your 7,000 or 6,000 odd questions bank, maybe you can eliminate 2 options, you will left with 2 options, and then you can, with respect to the context, with respect to newspaper, current affairs and all, with those 2 questions also you can solve. So I used to always solve more and more questions. That helped me. Second thing was, I used to I had a very good roommates. Like, we were 3 of us roommates, and there were 2 other like-minded people. So we formed one Telegram group, and we used to share questions on a daily basis. Wherever, let's say today I solved some test, I took that photo, put it in the group. There was a discussion over that question. Then they put some other question. So you will create a question bank in the Telegram group itself. There are a lot of quizzes going on these days in Telegram groups. If you see a lot of this quiz groups and all, you can solve those quiz questions also. Then what else can you do is, with respect to material, see, everyone knows the standard books, Lakshmikant, Spectrum, Shankar IAS, all this material you do. But now you have to go somewhat beyond it. So once you've done with question papers, current affairs again is a problem. Current affairs, you don't know where to read, because they're asking random current affairs. So obviously there is no one source of it. You should be thorough with your newspapers daily. But what I read in last April, I'll not remember now. That is for sure. So how it is done is, you should be understanding the issue at least. So I'll give you an example. In 2019 exam, I think there was one question about which of the following has highest import price or highest import duty, or some variation in prices or something. The answer was pulses. And if you see the other options, there are rice, wheat, some other options, and there was pulses. So just by the look of it, it might seem very random. Like, why is he asking price of a commodity or variation? How does it even matter in the exam? But if you see, that year there was actually there was a strike across India. There was agitation by pulses farmers saying that. So that year what happened is, pulses prices rised, and people started exporting to other international markets. So if you start exporting them, then domestically the demand will increase, price will increase, people will suffer. So government has put limitations that you can't export. So there was a huge agitation. The context of that question was that. So by reading newspapers, even if you don't remember the facts, you will at least remember the issues. By remembering those issues, based on that issue, you can solve that question. Some questions you can do with the context of current affairs. And people read this current affair materials of different institutes. But I see over the years they are becoming more and more redundant only. Like 365 material and what all, every institute has its own material. But I find them to be redundant now. To such an extent that if it is a very famous current affair, you will already be knowing it and you will solve it. And they'll give you, either they'll give you a very familiar current affair which everyone knows, or they'll give you a very rare current affair which no one has ever seen, even the materials haven't covered. So it has come to that point where materials have become redundant. So you should develop that knack of solving questions also, because it is less of knowledge and more of aptitude also, I would say. Even in GS1 also, you can use some tricks of maybe GS2, like that, sorry, CSAT paper, where based on the given information, you can see that some options don't actually correspond or relate to the question. So you can eliminate them. Then you will be left with 2 options. So maybe within 2 options there you will do inky pinky ponky and attempt, or maybe you feel one option is more relevant, so you tick it. So even there also, if you see out of 10 questions, if you do like that, maybe 6 will be correct, 4 will be wrong, but still you will be in a positive only. I don't know how many you people attempt, but I used to attempt generally around 90 questions. 90, 95 I used to attempt. Because in a test series, another advantage of giving test series is, you will know where your range lies. My efficiency, I'll tell you, was 67%. That is, out of 10 questions, around 6 to 7 would only be correct. Rest will be wrong. So for this kind of an efficiency, I can't attempt less questions like 70. Some people are very good with their efficiencies, okay. Like out of 70, if their answer, 65 will be correct. I can never be like that. I knew. There are some people will be like that, but I per se am not like that. There will be definitely only 60% of the question, or 2/3 will be correct. So in my case, I had to attempt around 90 to 95 to get a decent score of 110, 115 like that. Because if you get score around 110, 115 in the papers, you will be comfortably clearing the prelims. That is the notion. So you should understand what is your particular range and accordingly attempt. But 90 will be a good thing. But for some people it will be 80, for some people it will be 85, whatever you find correct. But through test series you can reach that sweet spot of yours. Mine was around 90. Then what else with respect to GS? You have any doubts with respect to GS1? Prelims, only prelims.
A few questions are asked with Sir, how long it takes to prepare for this for getting?
How long? If you actually prepare it, like very seriously, the first attempt should always be serious, and you are, since you have a lot of enthusiasm. But see, I think time will be a very wrong measure of it. Like what time it takes to clear is very wrong, but what you should do to clear will be a appropriate question. And I feel like if you have covered the syllabus properly, if you're strong with your optional, like my optional was mathematics. So I never took coaching for mathematics. I did it on my own. I took material and I sat and studied on my own. So if you can do your optional properly, so if you see the marks also in mains exam, see mains is important, first of all, A, within the entire series, pin down now what is important, let's see what is important. Mains is the first important thing for your score. Within mains again, what becomes important is your optional. Within optional again, those topics become important which are tough for everyone. Like in maths paper 2, there were few difficult topics which only few people are comfortable with. So it ultimately boils down to whether you're comfortable in your toughest part of your optional. Once you do that, if you zoom back, you will be comfortable in your optional, then you'll be comfortable in your mains, then you'll be comfortable in your entire score. So the crux lies in getting comfort in your difficult topics in optional. Then you have to be good in your GS4. Then you have to be comfortable in your essay. Once this is a standard approach, essay, optional, ethics is a standard approach. Once you're done with it, then you can concentrate on your GS papers, and then interview will be another phase. It's totally different. But interview also, so if your mains is very strong, if your optional and your mains are very strong, interview will not change your rank. Okay, so for the first attempt, this is what I'll suggest. You should be very strong with your optional. Next. Last 30 days revision for prelims. So in prelims, I've seen that history, polity become very important. Nearly 35 questions generally come. So you should have command over your history and polity. So what I used to do is I used to keep this history spectrum and Lakshmikant for the last few days also. So my way of solving would have been like, first I read the material, then I give some, let's say I read Lakshmikant today, I give polity test easiest part. Based on the corrections and based on the performance, then I'll go back and read Lakshmikant again. Then I'll give second level of test, which is medium level, easy, medium level. Then I'll again go back and read. Then I'll give the toughest part. So it's like the feedback loop. You read test, you give test, then you again read, again give test, like that. And final few days, I used to revise this spectrum Lakshmikant. Then I used to see the important current affairs, whatever are there. And so I had my own coaching notes. So I felt that was helpful because in the coaching notes, they used to give all those important topics which are most frequently asked in the exam. So I used to revise that. So my suggestion is whatever you feel are recurring or repetitive in the exam or which will be most useful, you keep them at the last and just revise them once again.
How to tackle unknown questions in examination?
Yeah, this is a good question. So how do you tackle unknown questions is, first of all, by the definition itself, it's unknown, so you can't solve first of all. But the thing is, what is unknown at the initial site will slowly become known once you keep reading it. That is a suggestion. I think you should go from unknown to known. How do you go? It is reading the question multiple times, thinking if there is any context, like the pulses example I've given. Is there any context to this example? Or have I seen this? And another good thing would be to categorize which subject it comes under. Is it under economy? Is it under environment? Or is it under geography? It's better to categorize. And if you see somewhere there will be an NCERT background attached to that question also. Or if you see it's completely vague, then try to see the options first. Is the options making any sense with respect to the given question? And another suggestion would be when you're solving this test series, there's a tendency to leave away the toughest questions or which are very vague. I suggest do those questions also. Give time to them. The challenge should be if I get any random question, I should be able to point out the right answer. So you don't know anything about the question, but you're coming out with the right answer. So that is the outcome. This is the input. So how do you go there is by solving as many random questions as possible. Then slowly you will realize that those random are not too random and those unknown are actually not unknown. They are known somewhere. Only thing is you have to recollect and you have to think over, then you will get them. Okay, so final suggestion would be to, like a lot of you are in different stages of preparation. Some are in initial attempt, some are in final, third, fourth attempt or even sixth attempt. My suggestion is, if you're like third, fourth attempt and you're still not finding success in the attempt, in the process, it's better to have a second option, like some kind of a job or some kind of a financial stability. But if you don't have any such problems and if you're truly passionate about the exam, then please do continue, please put efforts, because in my own batch, I have people of all combinations. You give me a combination, I'll tell you an example. Like there are people from very poor backgrounds, there are people from very rich backgrounds, they are from elite backgrounds, they are from middle class, and they are from lower caste, upper caste, they are from Tamil Nadu, they are from Bihar, they are from Gujarat, they are from Bengal, they are from Northeast. So you give me any, if you tell, okay, this exam is not for a particular group. Let's say this exam is, CSAT is not for non-engineers. Okay, if you tell me, I'll give you an example. There was one 2016 exam, there was one rank 10, if I remember correctly. Mohinuddin Bhatt, I think his name is. He was a doctor by graduation and he failed 3 prelims only because he could not clear in CSAT. Okay, 4th attempt he cleared CSAT, he got rank 10. Okay, so again, if you say, if you give an excuse, okay, see, because of this I am not clearing. I will give you 10 examples. Because of that also people have cleared. In spite of that also people have cleared. So every combination there is an exception. Every excuse you give me, I'll give you 10 examples who have cleared with that kind of a disadvantage. So don't give excuse. First of all, don't give excuse in the process. And I do agree that there is uncertainty in the process, definitely. In my own case, second attempt when I get 2018 exam, I got rank 349. I got postal service. But okay, I was happy that, okay, I gave one attempt, I got some service. But when the marks came, I was the most disappointed. Why? Because in essay, they gave me 69 marks. And that year, the average was 100 or 110. Like any person would have got 100 to 110. I got 69 marks in essay. And when I told one of the coaching institutes that I know I got 69 and it might be the lowest in the selected candidates, then person said, no sir, it is the lowest among all the candidates also. Even those who not got selected also, no one got 69. So had I gotten, let's say normal 100, 110 also, I would have been in top 100 and got IAS that year itself. So so I don't know why they did. I mean, I definitely, I remember I have not performed well, but giving 69 I thought was too extreme. Then comes the third attempt when I got 77 rank, and that was in the border first of all. So I was a little unsure whether I'll get or not, but finally I got it. But when the marks came, again I was the most disappointed, because this time I was butchered in ethics paper. I got somewhere 101, 100, 101, whereas that year 130s was the average. So had I gone the 30 marks, my marks would have been higher. So, but this statement is there, no? Like had I got this, I would have got that. Is common with everyone. Those who are not selected, those who have got selected. Even the first ranker might think, oh, I would have done this better. I would have been at a distance from the second ranker. Okay, so right from first ranker to those who have not got selected also will have this excuse or some kind of a regret. I should have done this, I should have done that. And I don't know why they give 69 and why they give 100, but it is always there. Sometimes it happens. So you should, but the beauty was, in spite of being butchered in ethics, I got a top 100 rank. So that should be a level of preparation, saying that even if something goes wrong also, I should get my desired service. That should be your attitude. So you should over prepare in all subjects. You should be like my mathematics compensated for my ethics. That is the case. So at least I had one backing, my optional, which saved me from getting butchered this time also. So your preparation, you should and also it's good to have analysis. Like since I have this knack and I used to do what I used to take all the marks. I used to analyze, see what is average, how much I should get for what rank, how much should I prepare in what subject, so that I get this rank. So I was too into numbers and all. I mean that is not necessary. It's only my, what do you say? They say chull in Hindi, that is like it will bug you that beats you. So I used to do all that. But it is always good to have an understanding of marks, like where do you stand for what kind of preparation and for what kind of rank, how many marks you should get for these kind of marks, how much preparation you should do. That kind of understanding you should have. Once you have that, your path becomes clear, like you'll have clarity over what to do. As I said, in my case, mathematics was very good in scoring. But ones who have optional as mathematics will find it difficult to justify GS. The time you will not be able to cater, because 70-80% used to go in mathematics. I used to only give hardly 20%. But why? Because maths was giving me that returns. Even if I spend 80%, it used to give me that much amount of marks. So it was worth spending. So you should have your own strategy, your own what your strengths are, what your weakness. You should have that idea. And finally, I would say that always keep the momentum, because I was telling few people. So in 2017, when I got so less marks, I thought I'll leave the process, because I'm not made for civil services examination. This is not my cup of tea. And I got 15 marks less than cutoff. What else can I do? Prelims only. And my, obviously, like any other naive aspirant, my ambition was, I graduated in 2017. I'll give 2017 attempt. I'll get my home cadre IAS. That's it. That was my first and only ambition, that I'll get my home cadre IAS, Telangana IAS. Nothing less than that and nothing more than first attempt. And I gave my first attempt. I did not even clear prelims with 17 marks. So that was my situation. And so after that, I was like, okay, I'll not give. Maybe I should look out for some options. I should not waste my father's money, and my time also in spending in coaching and all. Then my father was like, okay, because my father also wanted to clear civils, but he could not because of some financial conditions back then. So he wanted one of his children to do that. So he was encouraging me from the childhood, even during college and all. So he was like, no, give one other attempt. You have the talent. It's okay. And even my mother also encouraged. So I went back to Delhi, joined a coaching. Then in that 1 year, I struggled hard. Undone all my mistakes, seen what is going wrong, concentrated on my optional. And as I said, I gave some 60-70 tests for prelims, because I was very scared about prelims. So I spent a lot of time on prelims for 2018 exam. So then I could clear 2018 prelims. Then I could clear 2018 forestry also. Then I thought, when I got an interview call for then I gave mains for both exams. I got interview call for both forestry and civil. So I think that is one phase you will have in your process, where after that point you need not look back. There will be only success. So there will be one point where you will get success, and after that you will find success coming frequently. So you have to wait till that point. So when I got that point where I got interview call from civils as well as from forestry. So just a year back I was not even sure of continuing the process, and now I've got interview calls from both exams. So I thought, okay, we have reached a certain phase, maybe we can carry on. And while writing 2018 mains itself, I understood the demand of the exam, and I told my mother also, after writing 2018 mains, I told her I have to come back another year because this year the performance was not good. And after writing 2019 exam, I told, I think this will be the last one, we need not come again. Same thing happened. But I was so confident, but after seeing marks, I thought, okay, I haven't analyzed it properly. But okay, I had some understanding of what my performance was. So 2018, I understood, okay, this is the demand of the exam. I haven't done this yet. I'll do it by next attempt. I'll complete all these chapters in my optional and my IAS. I'll be comfortable by 2019. So that clarity I had, I cleared and got it. So why I'm saying this is, everyone will have that point where you'll feel, okay, this is not my cup of tea, I'll get back. But maybe if you're really passionate enough and really want to get into the service, maybe you should continue. You never know when success hits your door, and you should be ready to capture it, that moment. And once I've come into service also, like, the service definitely gives you all those avenues to serve the public. It also gives you that glamour. It also gives you that attention. I used to say to my friend, like, when I was in Tiruvannamalai, I used to go to office in my car and I used to read newspaper. So I remember, I think 2021 April, May, I was in district, I was reading newspaper, and just a year back, I was still in Delhi. Because of that COVID time, the result got extended, and I was reading the same newspaper in my own room in Delhi. So I was reading the same newspaper there and here. Then I felt the difference totally. There I was reading only in my newspaper in my shorts, in my only room. But here when I was reading newspaper, everyone was seeing, some police are saluting. So it's all, I said, okay, I've reached a certain situation. But having said that, again, I've come to a state which I've had no connection with at all in the beginning. Tamil Nadu I've not at all been in touch with. But having come here, having been in Tiruvannamalai, I could serve to people of tribal people. I was doing some projects for farmers, from tribal people, and that gives you some sense of satisfaction. And also you will have a lot of trainings. You will have Bharat Darshan, you will have State Darshan, you will get a lot of exposure. So personally, as well as for the society also, you can do a lot of things in this service. You still have that, that avenues left. So I feel service still has that charm, still has that avenues to serve. So it is worth fighting. And if you're really passionate about it, do continue, don't get disheartened, and try to get over that situation of failure, and one day you'll reach that success. Okay. So all the best. It was nice interacting with you, and my best wishes to all of you. Thank you.